Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I am your host NCR Enigma, and in today's episode we're going to be talking a little bit about caps. Why, you might ask? Well, that's mainly because of the reason I've kind of just been getting a lot of questions about how do I make my caps for my Fallout fan film I'm in the process of working on, as well as maybe where I get my templates and everything, and I'm going to kind of go ahead and go into a little bit of that, as well as a little bit of where I get my caps, as well as the weathering process and choice of design as well. And before we get into that, first of all, I want to give a special shout out to Knuckleheads Bar and Grill here in Laurel, Nebraska, because ultimately that is where I've actually been getting a lot of my bottle caps. I've actually set up a bucket that I gave to them that they actually put a little tape deal on that says caps. So at the end of the night, the bartenders or whoever's working knows that they just need to dump the one thing into the bucket, and then I usually just, mainly almost every week now, I've been picking it up and collecting. And just real quick to kind of show you off a little bit of what I got so far. This is old, real quick for some context, I actually am I am actually a line cook. I work at a college, and this is actually just a mushroom bucket, basically, that we get sliced mushrooms that come in, and I basically just took one of the buckets and used that for kind of just holding them, and as you see, that is pretty full of bottle caps. And I've actually gone through the process of sorting everything because mainly of the fact that, again, real quick, none of this, like a lot of my other videos, are scripted, so this is just kind of the raw, untamed sort of thing. Also, real quick, I forgot to mention, I do have a timestamp down in the bottom description of the video, so if you want to just kind of skip ahead to whatever part you want, go ahead and do that, or just kind of hang around here with me and just sort of chill with me for a sec. But like I said, I kind of already got them sorted out, mainly because of the fact that I am already using pre-painted caps, because it saves me a little bit of time, a little bit of money, on as well as the headache of trying to decipher of what color of red is going to be best. Because one of the things that I really had to stop and look at was diversity. And for an example of that, say you have a bottling plant A, which is, say, located on the East Coast, versus bottling plant B, which could be located in the Midwest, which is where I'm at in Nebraska. And then say you have bottling plant C, which is located off in, say, the West Coast or wherever. Given on the distance, I feel like some plants would not have the same color of paint or same shades, or might be using a different marketing scheme or idea, which is why I use a variation of different styles of caps. I actually have a couple right here. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this very well, but these two bottle caps here, this Sioux City Sarsaparilla and this Coca-Cola, they are actually two different shades of red. So that's where I kind of feel like that each bottling plant would maybe have a different shade of paint or printing style or press style, as well as the fact that with these two bottle caps, another thing I want to point out is I don't just use these two regular soda bottle caps, the Sioux City Sarsaparilla and the Coca-Cola. I also am using some just regular run-of-the-mill Budweiser caps, because namely the fact that the logo is just very easy to replace and cover up with the Nuka-Cola logo, and the fact that it's already that shade and color of red, I don't feel like I really have to worry about too much there. And the reason I say that is because of the fact that it's just a lot of the caps that I have made that you may have seen that I've posted on my Instagram or Facebook or wherever, I lean into a heavily aestheticness of not all caps are going to be clean. A lot of them are going to be rusted and gross, and I'm pretty sure I have a video running alongside right here right now. It's kind of showing off a little bit of what I've sort of done so far, and you can kind of just see the level of rust, because when you really think about the bottle caps in the Fallout games and the Fallout universe, not only are they just used as a currency, they're also used in certain things like bottle cap landmines. So you would have a lot of bottle caps that would end up out in the elements for whatever reason for something like that being used. And you would have ones that would be exposed to the elements, not just ones that are just naturally already exposed to the elements as is, but those other variations. As well as the fact that when you really think about when this sort of currency is in exchange or in circulation, a lot of it is not always going to be clean, because when you really think about a lot of Wastelanders, no one has access to a shower, no one has access to anything like washers or dryers or anything like that. It is just a straight up filthy environment. So hence is part of the reason of why I choose to grunge them the way I do, as well as on some of them you'll see that there are what looks to be not as grunged, but looks like it has some silverware. That's where I lean in on the fact of there's probably some caps that are still cleaned, or there's someone that does clean up their caps when they, get it, or however you will. There's going to always be some that may not be rusting, but they're going to have that wear that's going to be rubbing the paint off or the enamel or whatever it is off of the cap, because when you're hauling it around in something like a satchel or a bag and it's constantly being brushed up and abrased against something else, over time it is going to wear that paint down to where it is basically just a silver bottle cap at that point. And that's another reason why I kind of do things the way I do. Now, onto the templates. Now, for the templates that I use, I actually get a lot of my templates just off the internet. I usually will just Google Fallout Nuka-Cola bottle cap template, and then it'll usually pull up a certain one. I can't think of the name of the artist. Give me one sec. I actually have one of the templates right here. I actually have a couple of them that I actually recently had printed off. Here it is. Veronica C., whoever you are, I just want to say thank you for making this template. And honestly, just, again, whoever you are, and if you're watching this and this template, you did amazing, and I just want to appreciately say thank you for that, for creating this, because it's just made it so much easier for fans to just do their own style of bottle caps or what have you. And for printing these off, this is one thing I cannot stress enough. You might actually see how they're kind of glossy a little bit. No, these are not stickers. These were printed off on 11 by 17 paper, otherwise most commonly known as leisure paper. Mainly I chose 11 by 17 because of the fact that, one sec here, here's one that I haven't cut yet. I was actually able to fit 2 onto 1 sheet of paper, so basically it kind of saved me in the long run doing it this way instead of just the regular 8 by 11 sheets, because a lot of my printing I actually am doing at my local library or at my local college where I work at the library there. And again, you can, like I was saying earlier, you can see these have got a bit of a shimmer or a shine. Like I said, these are not stickers. These were actually printed off on 11 by 17 paper with a toner printer. Now, the reason you want to use a toner printer for something like this, if you're printing them like this, is due to the fact that if you use an inkjet printer, not only is your image not going to come out as crisp and as clear as you want it to, or as you might see it on the computer, it's also the fact that you're going to run into an issue called bleeding. And that's mainly when you go to glue it onto the cap, the glue will actually cause the ink to bleed and actually lose color. So instead of a, however, variation of red, from the look of it, I'd say it's maybe a candy apple or a cherry red, you would end up more of a light pinkish red that I don't know if you guys can kind of see, but that is kind of what happened to my bottle caps here on my bottle cap wind chime, and that was because I had my friend print those off on his inkjet printer, and I suddenly quickly found out that toner is actually going to be the best route for this, because of the fact that you don't run in with a bleeding issue. And when you go to clear coat, which is what I do, is I use a matte clear coat to seal my caps after I get done weathering and everything, because I don't want anything to brush off, and I want these to look as best as they can, especially for the Fallout fan film I'm going to have them in. I use matte clear coat, and using a toner printer, you don't run into that bleeding issue from the gluing or with the clear coating, as well as the fact that them being basically printed with toner, which is melted plastic, they're pretty much kind of already sealed on the top, and it kind of just sort of gets you going right in the right direction out the gate from there. I apologize for that. I am still getting used to talking to the camera, but again, Veronica C., whoever you are, thank you for making these. You are absolutely amazing, as well as whoever it is that made up these other variations. Actually, I believe you're the same person. Oh, altered. Okay, never mind. But whoever made these Nuka-Dark variations as well, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you. As well as the ones that... This is actually one I'm actually intrigued to work with. This is actually one I've actually already started. Nuka Orange. This is one I'm working on kind of as a side project while I work on some special ones, which I'm going to get to these ones here in a second. But I'm working on with these because I really want the caps and the stash of caps, or the caps in general, just have that variation of different bottle caps, because I don't think it's too hard to believe for certain flavors to make it certain distances, or even caps for that matter. And now for the ones that I was referring to, oh, actually, real quick before I get to those, one of the things I'm actually entertaining the idea of is now we all know about the crown cap thing, and this is actually not your average normal crown cap, and this is actually a good prime example to show you the difference between toner and inkjet printers. Now what I did is this is a, like I said, this is just a basic beer bottle cap. This is actually a hold on a sec. Here it is. This is a Corona Sunbrew bottle cap, and comparing it to, again, and this is where I don't feel like this would be out of line for, again, different flavors having different variations or different bottle styles, from twist off to regular pull tab, or like you have to get a beer bottle opener to open it. But you can see this Fanta one compared to this one. You can really see the Fanta is much brighter than this Corona. And again, it's just something that I'm entertaining. I'm still actually working on how to entertain the idea with the Fanta ones. But the Corona Sunbrew actually turned out to be perfect, absolutely perfect for this little project. And again, I actually have two of them because I've got ideas. And this is for something on the side, for something else that I'm working on that I've always wanted to do, aside from my Fallout fan film. one of the things, just a little side note here. I'm not meaning to get sidetracked or anything, but just one thing I want to say is ever since I started doing this Fallout fan film project, I've had my fails. I've had my high times where I've succeeded and I've patted myself on the back, and I have had moments where it's kind of just been sort of a rut trying to figure things out. And honestly, it's like I said before, when it comes to doing stuff like this, I've always felt like it's not about the destination, but it's really about the journey along the way and about learning new things and different techniques and everything. And I'm still in the process of gathering the crew kind of all together. I've already got one person down in Omaha, and if you're watching this, Chaz, hopefully I'm saying your name right. Glad to have you with us, or with me on this project, and I'm looking really forward to having your character in the fan series. But aside from that, back to this. Like I said, this is actually, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. This is actually something I've been working on, and like I said, I will show you here. You can actually kind of see, I might have to tilt the camera down a little bit just so you can see a little bit better. But you can actually see the difference between toner versus inkjet. Actually, let me go ahead and turn on the light there. Get this thing to sit right. But you can see how the inkjet one here, right here, is just, it's pixelated, it's blocky, unlike the toner one, which is unfortunately upside down. Sorry about that. You can see the toner one is just so much more crisper, clearer, and just compared to the inkjet, you can see the blocky pixelatedness. So that's where toner printer is the best way to go. Go ahead and turn the light off here. Sorry about that. Still trying to just get my setup all right. Make sure it's in the right position. Good. All right, and now you'll probably notice I made these. These are 2 crown caps. And you may have seen me fidgeting with them kind of like this. That is actually because, as you can see, I got them both lined up. Sorry. Bring it a little closer. They're both perfectly lined up. And I've actually got an entertaining idea of actually kind of basically gluing this together and just making a either a pendant, you know, like a charm pendant or keychain piece, or something I've actually been always entertaining. And this really isn't a part of the episode, but thought I'd show this off real quick. Christmas ornaments. This is actually just a little bag of Christmas ornaments that I printed out at my friend's house, and basically just had them laminated and kind of just used them as Christmas ornaments. They're just little simple cards after I glued them to cardstock and then cut them out and had them laminated. Just a couple fun little things, you know. Then you got a cool little Sunset Sarsaparilla machine, Nuka-Cola machine. I even got this little, this is actually my favorite one, little Vault Boy with a Santa sack. But that's actually just something I've entertained and have always wanted to do, and I'm thinking about doing something like that with this in the future. But that's down the line, and that's a completely different project from my Fallout fan film right now. Now, to get into some other templates, and one of the projects that I'm currently working on right now for the caps that I think all of you are actually gonna like and find interesting. Now, one of the templates that I came across on the internet was for Nuka-Cola Quantum, specifically the one for Fallout 4. Now, I love the Fallout 4 Nuka-Cola Quantum design as much as the next person, but I have one small, minute detail issue, and that is the color. I mean, the color purple, I mean, that's okay for space. I mean, if the background is like a nebula or something. But, I mean, I always liked it better when the Nuka-Cola logo for Quantum was, the background was blue. And that's why I ended up doing something, and give me one sec to find it here. What I did is I actually went and made a template for that variation. Give me 1 second here while I try. Here it is. And basically took, again, whoever basically did the Nuka-Cola Fallout 4 variant of this style, thank you. But I basically just took the purple version and took it into Canva, and as you can see, it is now a deep electric blue, which matches kind of how we originally kind of all a little bit knew it as. I mean, it's not the same color, it is a little bit darker, but I feel like it fits that space vibe just a little bit better than the color purple. And I honestly, just looking at that, you can't tell me that does not look amazing and a little bit better than the Fallout 4 version that we have. And again, this is my own design. I have not released anything like this on my Instagram or Facebook because I do not own the artwork design style or the template or the creation of it. All I did was took it into Canva and changed it from purple to blue, which again I think looks really awesome. And I'm actually working on some Nuka-Cola Quantum bottle caps right now that I will actually show you here in a second. Let me actually get a few, because I actually have a few that are actually done and rusted. Go ahead and grab those. And then I have a couple that have that silver wear like I was talking about that you would see out in Wasteland, where it's brushing up against someone's satchel or whatever have you inside their backpack or whatever it is they're carrying their stuff in. But I'll go ahead and bring these to you and turn the light on here so you can see them a little better. And here they are. Oop. Make sure I don't drop them here. But you can see I already have these ones here rusted. And I have to say, they do look very nice. I mean, they look good, if you ask me. And I'm mainly doing this just so I can like flush out the diversity in the caps in my Fallout fan film, because I don't want them all to just be straight Nuka-Cola, because I feel like having these different variations and styles give it that lived-in texture. I mean, they actually make it look lived in and actually just more aesthetically pleasing, if you ask me, or if you want to go that route. Now, for the weathering process, I do a combination of... now, I do apologize if it seems like I am rushing this a little bit. I'm still getting used to everything and kind of just trying to figure things out between work, everything going on at home, and just everything else on in between. I apologize if it seems like I'm a little all over the road. But now for the weathering process, I use a combination of burgundy, brown, orange, as well as black acrylic paint. Mainly reason I say I use acrylic is because it actually holds up a lot better, especially when you go to clear coat it, especially when this dries, and it looks more realistic, like actual rust or dirt or grime, than other paints probably would. But then again, this is basically where I kind of just have started out with a lot of my weathering, is using these 4 essential base acrylic paints for my rusting and everything. And for the silver lining, I actually use that you see on some of the bottle caps, like this one right here, that has what looks like it might have a white halo, but it's actually a metallic silver paint marker that I used just after I will sand the edges. I will use this to clean it up. That is actually another thing I forgot to get into, sanding. Again, I apologize, I'm all over the road, people. You're going to want to have a couple things, but actually I will get into the sanding here in a sec. But like I was saying, this is what I use, just a silver paint marker to basically make the edges look like it doesn't make it not look like it's a sticker that was just glued on or stuck on. Another thing you'll want to use for a lot of the application of the rust, if you want to get that pitted or textured feel, I'd suggest either using a simple sponge brush, but then again it also depends on how porous that sponge brush is going to be. My actual experience with this thing is, I'm not going to lie, it is very mixed feelings. Because the pores are too fine and it doesn't really give that texture, that pitted texture like you want with say what I actually use instead is I take a regular old house sponge and I will actually I actually ripped the Velcro side off of this sponge, which actually gave me this varied textured surface where it's just all different variations of bumps, grooves, and crevices, which actually gives you that more actual grimed and pitted look like you would see here on this cap that I'll sort of bring closer and show you. But you could just see that texture and design and how it actually looks like it's been through hell. And that's why I like to use a regular old dish sponge like this, just so I can actually make sure I achieve that proper texture and just look, so that they actually look like they're pretty authentic, like they have been through circulation a lot, or they've been out in the elements, because that's where I feel like, or that's just how I feel like a lot of bottle caps in the Fallout universe would look. I don't feel like they would look brand new and shiny kind of like this. I feel like there would be ones that look like the ones that I have here sitting in front of me, as you can probably see in the video that I'm rolling again here next to me. You can see that pitted and just grimed texture, and you can almost, when you see it, you can feel the grime. Like, that is some dirty money, but that is like, it looks like it belongs in the Wasteland, you know. Now, for the sanding, and I apologize I skipped this, and I should have brought this up way sooner. Another thing you'll need is a cheap nail file. You can get these sorry, I can't talk right now. Give me 1 second, I need a drink. But this is just a cheap nail file. You can actually get these at your local dollar store or Dollar Tree or Walmart. I got this at the dollar store for less than $3, and it came in a 2-pack. And you'll also want some sandpaper. What I use is 220 grit. And mainly why I use a combination of both is because when you start out, you'll actually kind of notice, you can kind of see on this nail file how it's gotten pretty dirty. And that's mainly because of the fact that, let me see if I can find one here. One of the things you'll have to do is, or you'll want to do is when you have them regularly like this, like here's just a regular one that I have that just finished drying not that long ago. you can actually feel the paper edge. And that, when you even look up at it like this, you can actually see the paper edge. And that's, for some people like myself and some others, that's a little immersion breaking. And sometimes even when you can feel it, like, you know, sometimes people will just be kind of, you might just be one of those people that's just kind of fiddling it with your hand, and you feel that it's going to bother some people. That's where the file and sandpaper will come in, and I'll go ahead and come a little closer, and I'll actually grab one of these ones so you can kind of see what I mean. You can kind of see that tiny paper edge right there, and you can even feel it. And again, it breaks it for some people. Unlike when you sand it, you can actually feel and kind of see barely the paper edge. You can see it, but you can barely see it, and you can't feel it at all now. And that is where, and I do apologize, I am popping back and forth. I do not have the best setup. But that is where sanding the paper edge down all the way around the cap is actually going to come into play. Because then once you, like, if you were to do this, and if you end up doing this yourself, try it, you can actually feel, once you do this, you can feel that paper edge, and it will if you're wanting just like pre-war, nice looking bottle caps, that's alright. But if you want some for whether you're doing a Fallout fan film or a cosplay and you want to make them look as authentic as possible, best route to go is sand them and then go into the level of weathering that I would do. And honestly, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Everyone has their own way of doing things. I just want to say that right now. I am not claiming to be some lord or master of prop making or anything like that. I am just giving my tips and tricks that I've kind of learned along the way of making props for my Fallout fan film, and thought I'd just share this. But again, sanding all the way around the edge, best way to go, so that when you hit it with this silver paint marker to help clear up that and make it and hide that paper edge and everything, as well as another thing you can do is also sand the edges around the bottoms of the cap so that it exposes some of the metal, because then it would actually look like it has been constant circulation, or it's been sitting in someone's satchel constantly being brushed up against something or whatever. It just helps sell that extra level of realism for it. And that is just kind of how I've been doing it. I know some people have been asking, do I use stickers? Again, no. I basically, like I said, print these all off on 11 by 17 paper. And then I cut them out by hand, and that's another tip I forgot to include. If you do this, get yourself a 1-inch hole punch. Because the reason I say a 1-inch hole punch is because of the fact, a 1-inch hole punch, paper punch to be exact, is because of the fact that cutting these out by hand with a pair of scissors, which is something I actually have no choice to do because I don't have a punch, you are going to develop a hand cramp. And that is another thing. Sometimes it is actually best to maybe print these off just a little bit bigger than you need them. And in case you're wondering, that's around 1 inch in size. Basically because of the fact that a bottle cap is around 1 inch on the top. So going over just a little bit of 1 inch actually gives you that just enough play so that when you go to glue it on, it actually is just a little bit over the edge and kind of just sort of flows down, so that when you sand it, it makes it just a little bit easier and smoother. But that's what I ended up doing with these Nuka-Cola Quantum ones. Another tip, real quick, that I can give you for this project is if you want to make sure that you can get that paper sealed down as far and as tightly as you can, to maybe if you want to skip the sanding process possibly, I would suggest maybe putting this in some kind of a mold or grabbing some thick, this is just a thin piece of leather that I have, but a thick, either a thick foam pad or something, but something that is also not going to let this thing wiggle around, and then put it in a C-clamp, and then just clamp it down, and then just leave it for, I'd say like an hour or so, and then that should press it down enough that it should make the paper flat enough that you might not be able to see it, but at the same time you still may have to do a little bit of sanding, especially if you want to make these look like they've been through hell in the Wasteland itself. And I'm pretty sure that is all I've got. Oh wait, no, I actually have one more thing to show you guys. Two special ones aside from the Sioux City sarsaparilla I'm working on. You already saw the Nuka-Dark template, and I am actually working on some Nuka-Dark variants. This is actually just my first run. This is actually the first one I've actually ever made so far. So far I do like it. It is a little duller than the actual black paint, but again, I don't feel like nothing a little weathering ain't gonna handle and take care of, am I right? So I'm looking forward to how those are gonna come out into the mix as well for the props. Because again, the reason I'm doing this is because I just want to make the background set dressings of wherever these are gonna be, as well as when they're in use in certain scenes. I want to make them actually sell like that is the Wasteland, like, oh damn, that is wow, you know what I mean? And that's where actually, like I said, I'm working on different variations. I don't think these ones are going to be in the Fallout fan film, because again, I'm not sure. And those are these absolute solid lime green bottle caps that I've got. I actually just got these last night. I actually got around 6 of them from my local bar. And I'm not gonna lie, they're actually pretty prime designed for a possible Vim variation. I'm not sure how to do that one because there is no template for Vim. I think it would actually be pretty awesome if someone made one. I would do it myself, but then again, I don't know anything about how these people have made these templates. A lot of things that I've been using for a lot of my stuff, I'm basically using anything that is sourced, that is basically free access to everybody, kind of, because of the fact that I know I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I am on a shoestring budget for this Fallout fan film. So I'm basically just trying to, whether it's taking things from my local junk pile, like that General Atomics wall clock that I've got now, that was actually a regular sharp clock, and you may have saw that in a later video that I showed it off. And it actually does work. I just don't have a battery in it right now because my fiance does not like the sound of a ticking clock. It just drives her nuts a little bit. But I'm, like I said, on a shoestring budget, and I am just kind of just trying to get everything that I can easily get access to or build from scraps that fits my Fallout fan film or can be utilized for it. As it is right now, I'm basically trying to figure out, trying to find cosplayers that have their own cosplay armor as well as everything else, kind of, that they can if they want to help me out, they can. And basically, in other words, I'm kind of just basically still looking for people that have cosplay for certain things, because I'm looking for certain cosplayers that live local, kind of, or basically local. I am sorry, I am rambling. But basically cosplayers that look or that live local. Sorry, I can't talk right now. Because I just have certain scenes that involve certain factions, namely the Midwest Brotherhood of Steel. My friend down in Omaha, he has a ghoul character that, like I said before, I am looking forward to having his character in the show. And I'm also just right now in the process of scouting locations and just trying to get props all ready for everything. And I do apologize, I am rambling and being a little bit off topic. But I'm pretty sure that's everything I have for you guys today in today's video. And if you guys did like the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to send it to a Fallout fan and if you think they might like this kind of content. And again, if you did find this or any of this information helpful, be sure to give this video a like, and I will see you guys in the next video.